So I haven't got the rigging on the main wings yet, but we can run it around the garden, I'm sure. Here we go, first taxi. Give it a little shove. Oh dear, hope I don't break that prop. Perhaps I should have put the plastic one on. Yeah. Whew. Okay, it might be all that lead I've got in the front, but I'm not going to chance it. Could get, you see, if I get it rolling on the concrete, it'll probably tip onto its nose. Really, I want to give it full throttle and go for it. I don't want it to take off here, so we'll stop there. One last try. Now those wheels really don't want to go, do they? Oh. Okay, I'm not going to chance it anymore. What can I say about it then? Let's have a talk out here, shall we? Okay. Where can I start? The extras I've done, the exhaust. I've still got to fit the hubcaps, but I've got the DH sticker on those. I've modified this assembly a bit by bushing out the threaded female bar that Tony supplies. I've bushed out the wheels and put a collet on the inside. The Venturis are extras, as are the petrol supply pipe to the engine, dummy of course, and the sticker on the fuel tank, oil tank, beg your pardon. I've still got because the biggest thing was the getting the battery hatch where I wanted it, because the hatch here is okay for 3S22, but not this big one to get in. So the battery hatch was that one down there, which is still useful to have actually for access to the getting the leads in and everything. But I've got 5 magnets on there. I've got 1, 2, 3 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and of course they're neodymium magnets, so they're very solid. For those of you that saw in my earlier video, I dropped it and smashed all this apart. These cowls are brittle but beautifully made, so be aware that they can break. I think the later models have a different sort of material that you have to possibly even join, and glass on the inside. Nothing to stop me glass in this one. The other thing was to extend the battery support floor all the way from there to the front to support it, using as much weight as you want, because you'll need it. Mine's balancing on the rear wing screw holes at the moment. I'll show you. That's there, and I've got possibly 4 ounces of lead all around the engine mount. I've put the wing securing bolts in from underneath because I didn't want holes in the top of the tank. But one thing I didn't realise was that the rigging comes on down and gets in the way of the screwdriver a bit, so a little bit fiddlier to connect it up. The windshields, I made little plastic pieces that fit around the inside, 3D printed, very delicate, but it worked by pushing it through and just heating heating on the bits sticking through, which produce these sort of screw effects. And I also added more balsa on the inside where these screw into, another 1/16. So these little screws are screwed in. The covering I used, iron-on covering, sort of went into the pinhole as it went in and sort of gave it something to bite into a bit. So they're quite tight. Also a little drop of CA as they went in. These are the magneto switches, one fore and one aft, which I've 3D printed. The doors operate. The pilot's 3D printed, as you can probably see in the sunshine. It's not finished yet. But a little tip for you, he's just got a big magnet on his bottom. Little tip for you, if you're struggling to get something in, heat it up and squash it all down. Give it a good old squeeze. There's the magnet, and it'll get it in a little bit. There he is. That's not too bad. The rear struts on the tailplane were also my change from Tony's design. I fitted aluminium angled struts. I cut them short annoyingly, so I've got these extenders, which was part of the original fitting. I used aluminium tube to crimp the push rod to the 2mm adjustable connector. It looks crude, but it is in actual fact really, I CA'd it as well. They're not going to move. I changed the position for the elevator one, as you can see the original holes. A lot of the screws, by the way, I reinforced on the inside here where these screws go. A lot of the screws I've changed from Tony's 2mm bolts to 2mm screws. Well, I've got a varying selection of like 5 to 10mm, and there I feel much better because I've actually got a thread that will cut into the wood. And I've used a few of them on here as well. I reinforced the inside of the area where these screw, the main one screw, because our flying fields are quite rough. How solid this undercarriage is going to be when landing, I don't know. We'll find out. Just looking down there, look, I added little triangular bits to fit the cowl more so as I could do the screws up. Talking of the cowl, on these you can heat up the outside very gently with an hot air gun and just ease it out. I'm talking about very gently, very little heat, and it'll push out quite nicely. And here you see that bend there wasn't there originally. It just pushes out to fit the fuselage. There's the hatch, but I can't get this big battery in around the corner, so hence the modification on the cowl. Oh yes, the connectors on the ailerons, Tony supplies, they're actually too short to connect from the servo horn, output horn, to the connector here, so I've just used 2mm threaded spokes and just cut them and twisted them at the end. For those that didn't see, also I've pinned the hinges. They're glued into the wing and pinned into the aileron. When you build yours, make sure you cover all the way to the end of the wings, as you can see there. A little bit, I'll have to touch in with white, but I've got screw head to touch in there anyway. The kit itself goes together beautifully, being laser cut and very nicely forced out. The wings are pretty much as standard. One other thing, Tony does like to use a lot of nuts and bolts, small ones. Nuts and bolts that secure the wings don't actually do anything other than stop them from sliding out, so they don't have to be big. So you just pass in a bolt through a nut and it goes through the hole for the fitting. Just stops it from sliding out, so they don't have to be that strong, but I can't think of anything else. Oh, the big one of course was the fuel tank. I 3D printed a fine ridges. That was fun to fit. I learnt my own technique, and I think it's worked. It looks okay. I had to stretch it slightly to get it to go around the corner, and in doing so the circular fuel cap has turned into an oval one, which of course would be impossible to undo. But as it's not a real fuel tank, I don't mind. So that's about it for now. Oh, one other thing. Tony suggests a 35-30 motor. I fitted a 35-42, 35-40, 42, something like that. A little bit heavier. I've done a test on the watt meter, and that comes out at 125 watts per pound. The model weighs 80 ounces, 2.2 kilograms. That's without that extra little bit of lead in the nose. I think, well, 125 watts per pound is fine. 100 watts for a sport flyer, so I got 125, so I reckon it'll cruise around okay. The next video is going to be up the flying field, which is going to be exciting. I'm glad I've done that little taxi test. I mean, you can see how rough this is. It's full of divots, but obviously I can't just open the throttle and let it go because I'm not at the flying field. Even if I could take off here, which I doubt, I'd never land it without smashing it. I could go out to the front garden and try and land it in the road. That would be the most exciting thing I've ever done. Aviate first. So there we are, guys. Anyway, she's ready. Just bar the rigging here. As soon as my last nut and bolt come, I can fit it. So I'll stop there. I've got all the links in the description of each part of this build video. This is part 15 really, I suppose, just explaining what I've done with the model. So part 15 finishes it. Part 16 will be the maiden flight, which hopefully will be very soon. So thank you very much for watching, all you guys and gals who have watched and commented. If you want to hit the subscribe button, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost a penny, but it does help to boost the channel enormously, so I'd be grateful if you could do that, and I'll see you up the flying field. Cheers guys.